Hi there, I'm Steve, this is TQA Weekly. How did Phishers get your password to blackmail you? You know, I talked about blackmail emails in the past. I have a lot of people commenting their stories, men and women, with paranoia, fear, and stress out of their mind, worried about what's going to happen, worried about viruses in their computer and all that. But you know what? How did they get the password in the first place? That is the question that a lot of people might be asking in the back of their head. And it comes down to the human condition. It comes down to us thinking we are optimized, efficient, intelligent. We are lazy bastards. We are as lazy as it comes, and that is an evolutionary trait. See, we didn't always have access to food in the way that we have today. Just like we didn't always have the option to focus on a specific thing or person for hours on end, which is why there are people with ADHD that have themselves glancing around the room, never able to focus on any one thing. Us thinking this is a handicap, but in the wild, they'd be the safest person to be around because they'd spot any predator coming around. And there's also the fact that the people that are extremely lazy but look efficient also expend the least amount of energy. They won't die from hunger quite as fast. But the problem is on the internet, that's not how life works. The internet is the Wild West, but using your password, the same password on every single website on the internet with the same username and email address, now that's just dangerous. And that's part of the problem. You see, every website on the internet is going to be the target of an attack. Every website experiences some kind of breach or attempted breach in its history. Multiple attempts of breaches are made against every single website all the time with the aid of bots. You can think of this as minions to hackers. In some cases, high-value targets have hackers, malicious hackers, actually doing all of the work themselves, even though bots could probably do it, and they try to get access to databases full of usernames, passwords, email addresses, home addresses, credit card numbers, and the whole shebang. And this is all the information for the end user. They might be after information of corporations, projects and secret projects and other trade secrets that they don't want anybody to know, that kind of corporate espionage. And of course, once these bad guys get this information, once they're able to decrypt this information, if they are at all able, they end up selling this information on the dark web, where eventually it ends up in the public domain in a paste bin, where some script kiddie takes your password, your email address, and attempts to blackmail you, sending you to my other video where you're going to comment in the future about how you got a blackmail email, but you still haven't solved your problem. See, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when, and it's possible it already happened to you to be the victim of an account hack where the information is divulged on the internet. You may not be aware that your information is on the internet. Chances are you're not even aware you've been hacked in the past. See, most people only realize that their information's on the internet once the worst has happened, called an account takeover, and this is the direct result of us using the same passwords, usernames, and emails all over the place. So what can be done to avoid account breaches and takeovers, while remembering we will never quite get rid of those attempted blackmail emails? First, remember, humans are incredibly lazy. We are not efficient, we are not optimized, we are not intelligent. We are barely running on the energy that we have stored. This is an evolutionary byproduct of our past. You know what? Let's exploit it. Use a program like LastPass. Store that in your browser, your phone, or whatever. Use a complicated, automatically generated password that nobody can guess a pattern from and still take over your other accounts. Make sure that you're using a different one for every single website. Throw in a few mixes in there. Different usernames, different email addresses, and this should, start making it harder to take over your life. And there's another thing you can do. opt for multi-factor authentication. And if you can, use things like Google Authenticator and Authy over email and text message. Because while email is just a little bit better than text message because of the SS7 vulnerability, email and text are still vulnerable to man-in-the-middle methods. Whereas Google Authenticator and Authy aren't quite as vulnerable to this type of attack because it's math and your phone doesn't actually have to be connected to the internet for that thing to work. So what do? Use a complicated password. How do you create it? With an app, because we're all lazy. And what do you do with that? Well, you just make sure you use a different one on every single website. Throw in different usernames, different email addresses, and of course, two-factor authentication. And just remember, it's not if, it's when. You will be hacked. All you can do about it is to make it as hard as possible for them to take over your accounts. And as an extra bit of advice, delete accounts you don't use at all, if at all possible, because the less surface area you have on the internet, the less likely people can take over your life. Like if you like it, dislike it if you didn't. Share with those that you think can benefit from this, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com. Go to my website, tqaweekly.com. You can find show notes on this episode, find other ways of subscribing, and use the contact form and email me directly. And I'm a gamer, and you can watch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/zaxis1981, link down below, and I am currently playing The Witcher 3, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, starting at midnight Eastern Time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.